Welcome back. So, some news of the day for today, for October 8th, 2021. And the Florida Panthers have locked up Sasha Barkov. So, during the summer, there was discussion of Barkov wanting an extension, being willing to sign an extension. We're not up to the regular season yet, so it's been signed apparently 8 years, $80 million, $10 million per season. So, what's the first thing that Twitter does? Did they say, that's a pretty good deal for Barkov? No. The first thing people do is go, yeah, Marner makes more than that. This has got to stop. This absolutely weird thing that goes on now, where when somebody signs a contract, the first thing we do is compare that to the money Marner's making with Toronto. It's just got to stop. Coming back to Barkov, because that's what we should be talking about, right? Is Barkov. As I know, the comment section is going to be Marner stuff. Barkov is an absolute beast. He is one of those players that he can go into what I refer to as beast mode when I'm doing reviews, and it just means that he is so strong on the puck. Good luck getting him off the puck. And he is very good defensively, very good offensively, and he is capable of putting up 100 points a season. He is one of those rare hockey players where I look at $10 million a year and I think, yeah, that's probably fair. The other guy who's pretty happy today, I'm going to say Jonathan Huberdeau, because then when his contract's up, he's going to get a healthy raise as well. May not make as much as Barkov, but he's going to make more than, I think it's $5.9 million a year he's making right now. So, yeah, Barkov's done. And so Florida's, got another player making $10 million plus starting next season. Remember, this kicks in next year for Barkov. So his final year at the Paltry, I think he makes $5.9 million too. At least that's the cap hit. And yeah, apparently there's a lot of bonuses with this one too. So this is different it feels like with Florida, they used to be a place that wouldn't pay out bonuses. Now, bonuses. So it is one thing that helps you attract free agents, helps you hold on to players, pay them up front. So it's a move that, for players, it makes a lot more sense to get all that money in a lump sum, throw it in an account, whatever you're going to do with it, rather than getting paid your regular every other week paycheck kind of thing. So, yeah, Barkov's pretty good. Barkov's pretty good and worthy, I do believe, of $10 million a year, and should be the face of the Florida Panthers for quite a while to come. On to other news. Boldy was supposed to be making his debut for the Minnesota Wild this year, and Wild fans were excited, but there was a lower body injury that took place in the game last night, and so he's having an MRI for that today, and we'll see what the results are of that. MRI means you got to think it's a minimum of a week, and so I'm probably going to be longer than that. The MRIs are normally longer than that, or for injuries that are longer than that. So, yeah, Matt Boldy being out means that for Minnesota, somebody else is going to have to, step in. But they do have Kaprizov. They do have Rossi as well. There's some interesting young prospects, too, that may be looking at Boldy's injury and saying, well, maybe there's a chance for me as well. Or for those fringe guys, too, right? Kyler Yamamoto, who hasn't played the last couple for Edmonton, he has been cleared to play tomorrow. So he's all right. This is why I haven't been reporting so much on the day-to-day injuries, because we're in the preseason. So the day-to-day injuries, in the end, they don't end up missing a game, right? So, yeah, Yamamoto cleared to play tomorrow for the Oilers. And the big question mark for the Oilers is going to be scoring depth, right? Do they have the scoring depth this year so that if a team they're playing against shuts down McDavid and Draisaitl, if some team manages that miracle, do they have the scoring depth to overcome that? And so Yamamoto is going to be part of the answer to that this season. Nashville news. So Todd Richards, who had a heart attack last week, word has it that he may be back behind the bench as soon as the 14th for their opener. So it's one of those scary things. Richards seems to be okay. Wasn't in hospital for long. And so now he may end up back behind the bench less than a week from today for the Nashville Predators. So that's good news. And all the best to him. Other Nashville news that's out there, Ekholm. So Ekholm is a UFA next summer. And he's said that the deadline for him to sign an extension is the first game of the season. So if there's no extension for Ekholm, David Poyle's in a tough position. We saw last season that, they were able to come back from what was a really rough first half of the season. But this year, if they have another rough first half, do you really want to risk losing Ekholm for nothing at the end of the year? Or do you move him for some future pieces and parts at the deadline? Is Nashville in a position right now with, due to age and some of the contracts, that they might consider doing some sort of a retool? We'll see. But Ekholm, if he does get that extension, then he'll be staying put. And if he doesn't, I would think likely that he probably gets moved. We did see them move Ellis, though. Maybe part of the reason you move Ellis is because you plan to keep Ekholm. So we'll see what happens with Nashville. Of course, yesterday, Blake Coleman was given a suspension. It's one game in the regular season. It's also one game in the preseason. So it's a one-game suspension for him. And I don't really have much to add to that. I didn't do a video on that yesterday because again, I'm fine with the suspension. There are some that's going to say it should be more. Some are going to say, it shouldn't have been anything. And that's how suspensions work in the NHL. Caleb Jones, the Chicago Blackhawks have announced he'll be out 6 weeks with a left wrist strain. So he won't be playing with his brother right out of the gate, but he's out for 6 weeks. So we'll see him back in November, mid to late November for the Chicago Blackhawks. But again, he's not one of the key pieces they brought in. Fleury was off today for what they're calling a maintenance day, and that'll happen. Fleury is not, I don't think he'll play 55, 60 games. I think he'll probably play about 50. I think they'll take it not easy with him, but I think they'll make sure they're not overworking him. And so Lankinen probably gets about 30 starts. And Lankinen showed last year he's a pretty good goaltender too, so it'll be interesting to see how Chicago handles all of this. Curtis Lazar is week to week for the Boston Bruins with an upper body injury. I hope he's not out too long. He's a useful player for the Bruins. But again, yeah, the injury list does tend to pile up pretty darn quick, doesn't it? And so hopefully, again, Lazar's not out that long. So the San Jose Sharks are becoming an interesting story again. In that their training camp seems to be quite upbeat. So I haven't been reporting on the other Evander Kane stuff because honestly, at this point we're just into speculation and what might be going on and all. And I'm like, no, until we get some results of the investigations, we know what's happening. The Kane stuff can get exhausting. So and I'm sure it's exhausting for Sharks fans as well. But it does sound like their training camp is quite upbeat. Bob Bugner saying it's the happiest he's seen the team in 2 years. And I can't say that there's a message there, but people are going to take the message being the guys seem to be pretty happy with Kane not there. And again, there's been that whole thing out there during the offseason of, the Sharks don't want him back and all the drama they wanted away from the team. And that may very well be true. But again, players aren't going to say it. Coaches aren't going to say it. And for now, it's all, again, wild speculation. And I'd rather not get into all of that. So there's still investigations ongoing. Kane will not be with the Sharks to start the season. The question mark becomes when all of this clears up, and at some point it kind of has to, do the Sharks invite him back? Do they bring him back? Or do they look at the situation and say, you know what? We've gotten off to a good start. We've talked to the guys, and we're probably better off as we are. So again, the whole Sharks thing is fascinating because there just seems to be this whole feeling that training camp's gone really well, and everybody's getting along quite well. And again, it is hard not to connect the dots and say, okay, so this is the way this is sounding, that they're just very happy and relaxed. So, all right, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.